Dhamma Jumden the Shen Shepan Drashu, Yanda Wan Zobe Sanje, Remba Da Shasun, Devare Shepan Jiden, Temba Yuvan Deva Kano, Lana Meba Pada Menanje, Demba Sanje Shumden, Bejawa Shaja Tuba Nasam, Chudo Jazu Shewa Demba Jumden the Shen Shep, Drajamba Yanda Wan Zobe Sanje Rebat, Shazon Demba Devare Shepan Jiden, Temba Yuvan. Kalo Yuva Lana Meba Lada Menanje. Sanje Jumden de Benjawa Shajatua, Chazen Lo Chudu Jazo Shewa Demba Jumden, the Shenshaba Dajumba Yanda Wazo Besan, Ribadan Shazun Demba Devali Sheban Jidenjam, Kivu Deva Kalo Yuva Lana Meba Lada Menanje. Sanje Jumden de Benjawa Shajatua, Chazen Lo Chudu Jazo Shewa Kanze Kanyen Zowa Jadam. Sajen de Nakomba Dembrane, Manen Jiden de Nacho. Tezekeba Jola Cha, Zema, Namda Kunga Chodo Susan. Ije Gazu Sergio Lomboda, Taban Jiden, Somalame. Gombo Choni Jola Cha, Zemo, Senjo Deba Jimenda. Sendo Dawa Jola Cha, Zemo, de Regina Seva Zuma. Yame Genjen Jola Cha, Zemo, Gombo to Jechet. Tamje Kembe, Dumba Bo, Sonam Yende Gazu. The Shinshala Cha, Zemo, Taben de Jajo. Given as one letter Jen, Jedo de Lamachoyo. Shinjujo La Cha, Zemo, Trene Trevaloya. Lavata La Rabdo Ne, Shinga Tamba Yen. Gendun La Ya Cha, Zemo, Debachi and Message. Give up a son so by Jaya Ranges and the Johnson. Tene Sanje Tamba Yen, Garmara Rimamet. You must have a Chivrata, Melam Lodan Tenda. The Jishanum de Darada, Sonam de Yatum Jesse. Kobantum ne Jinjan Datu de Gada Nada Shiva Love. Sibe Solando and Jovaresho.
To the teacher of the blessed one, the flow is joy, completely perfected, fully awakened being, perfect in knowledge and in good conduct, Srata, knower of the world, supreme guide of beings to be tamed, teacher of gods and humans, to you the completely and fully awakened one, the blessed one, the glorious conqueror, subdued from the Shakya clan, I prostrate, make offerings, and go for refuge. To the teacher, the blessed one, the one beyond, the foe destroyer, the completely perfected, fully awakened being, perfect in knowledge and in good conduct, Sugata, knower of the world, supreme guide of beings to be tamed, teacher of gods and humans, to you the completely and fully awakened one, the blessed one, the glorious conqueror, the subduer from the Shakya clan, I prostrate, make offerings, and go for refuge. To the teacher, the blessed one, the one gone beyond, the foe destroyer, the completely perfected, fully awakened being, perfect in knowledge and in good conduct, Sugata, knower of the world, supreme guide of beings to be tamed, teacher of gods and humans, to you the completely and fully awakened one, the blessed one, the glorious conqueror, the subduer from the Shakya clan, I prostrate, make offerings, and go for refuge. When as supreme among humans you were born on this earth, you paced out 7 strides and said, I am supreme in this world. To you who are wise then I prostrate. With pure bodies, forms supremely pure, wisdom ocean like a golden mountain, fame that blazes in the 3 worlds, winner of the best, to you I prostrate. With supreme size, face like spotless moon, color like gold, to you I prostrate. You are immaculate, the 3 worlds without, incomparably wise one, to you I prostrate. The Savior having great compassion, the teacher having all understanding, the field of merit with qualities like a vast ocean. To you, the one gone to blessedness, I prostrate. The purity which makes one free from attachment, the virtue which frees one from the lower realms, the one path, the sublime pure reality. To that Dharma which pacifies, I prostrate. Those who are liberated and who also show the path to liberation, the holy field qualified with realizations, who are devoted to the moral precepts. To you, the sublime community intending virtue, I prostrate. Do not commit any non-virtuous actions, perform only perfect virtuous actions. Subdue your mind thoroughly. This is the teaching of the Buddha. The star, mirage, flame of a lamp, an illusion, a drop of dew or a bubble, a dream, a flash of lightning, a cloud. See conditioned things as such. Through these miracles, these ancient beings attain the rank of all-seeing, subdue the flow of faults, and be delivered from the ocean of suffering, of aging, sickness, and death. I go for refuge in telling to the Buddha, the Dharma, and Sangha, through the merit I create by practicing giving and the other perfections. May I quickly attain the state of Buddha for the benefit of all sentient beings. I go for refuge in telling to the Buddha, the Dharma, and Sangha, through the merit I create by practicing giving and the other perfections. May I quickly attain the state of Buddha for the benefit of all sentient beings. I go for refuge in telling to the Buddha, the Dharma, and Sangha, through the merit I create by practicing giving and other perfections. May I quickly attain the state of Buddha for the benefit of all sentient beings.
Lana meba lada menang jedem ba sanje jemden de so nje shin batin so nam da bi gyut gewe zawa nama chu me se ba so be rado je ba so nam je tere nam je be je sam bon nam je je ba sen nam je me do je chu ye ren ba to nam je dem ba me te be me ba na ma ngo bar ga sher ba si je me to nam je ba me sim je tam je je dem ba chang ju sem ba nam je ya ba ba be ka sa da je je ba nyang ne de be chong je don ro wa nam je te me yi je ba do me Boba Sanjay Miji, Son Namrata. Yanya Magujeta, Chomishabo, Kuzuma, Devata Mago, Suta, Yama. Sumevata Damadeva, Dumela, number two, Pomota, number two, Kananda, Kajan. Divana machine, the Jeba Yozo, Domata, number two, Sivale, to Chuoman, Shirundu. Devata Majumba, Tadashim, Sanjay Jim Dendi, Shella, Neava, Yagan, Yanda Vanya Jatala never Simjatam Jana Siva Sana Shuba and the Sanjay Jim Dendi. Kuchiva Yunda Yanda Vanamazova, Tamation, the Tomageva, Padogeva, Tomageva, Hanson, Sindrison. Madeba, Yozo, Yozo, Dava, Yozo, Chamanya, Dabaton, never but Tucheba, Mevanya. The Tomana Deva, Kevana, Sozo Rangariba, Jim Dendi, and Abasum Chundu, one never. Yavajamanzo Veshanju, don't draw a chip, Midema Majun the Batan, Temba Yuvan. Tabachimbe Gidine, Lebrashuba, Rivashuba, Tambashuba, Timbershuba, Tamaja, Resu. Chacha Vesu Javason and Jebejian, Jonwacha, Jibenda, Kudoan Jibenda Zujuva Chambo, Kangia, Mobotinja, no one, Bebajatus, Yishinya Mesame, Payment, and Chance. So from the root text, we are still on the first bhumi. So the Chandikrit is from the beginning. It says most. I think the substantial cause for all these bodhisattvas qualities, Buddha's qualities, and then particular Buddhas. Charvaka Buddhas, all these are, I think the substantial cause for this is compassion. So compassions, and then it talks about the three kind of three kinds of compassions: compassion for mere sentient beings, compassion with phenomena, compassion with a non-abiding, right? It's non-abiding compassions. So the compassion is the what do you call it, root cause or the substantial cause for all of them. So because the compassions, so the bodhisattvas, the first Bhumi, being able to perfect the first perfection of the generosities. So generosity is also perfected by the compassion and the wisdom realizing emptiness. So I think last time I stopped here, number 14, right? If simply hearing a things of phrase of give me, brings the such joy to the children of the Conqueror, joy not experienced even by the arhats who enter into peace. What need is there to speak of the joy when giving away everything? So this is referring to the Buddha who has dedicated, 3 years of the collection of the merits and all his omniscient, completely and totally dedicated for the sentient beings. So if this bodhisattvas can that much experience the joy, and how much a Buddha, experience the joy. So Buddha has more to give, and he is giving that, every moment, in every seconds, and forever. So, and then this part is general perfection of generosity is perfected. Perfection of generosity is in the first Bhumi, so which means Bodhisattva was already noble being, and Bodhisattvas who are not noble being, but they have this kind of the practice of the perfection of the generosity. So 15 is number 15 is cutting his body and giving it away. He sees from his own pain the pain of others, such as the sentient beings, their birth in hells, as if were undergoing these situations himself. So thus swiftly he strived to cut away all their pain. So the ordinary sentient beings, bodhisattvas, who are ordinary means who are not noble beings, but they have the great compassions and they have a practice of the generosities. So the pain that experience for the sentient beings, they don't really, that pain is kind of, that helps to increases the more into the compassion. The pain they experience from their own become the fuel to increase his compassion for the sentient beings. So, So number 16 says, if this much they have this kind of compassion towards the sentient beings, and that much kind of generosity, giving even their bodies for the sentient beings. So compassions, there's kind of ambiguities. So if this much compassion towards sentient beings, so why don't you say this? The Bodhisattva are so much attached to the sentient beings. Why not? When the ordinary beings, which
if someone who is scared too much, there's some kind of sign of having attached to that thing. And then now the answer for that is number 16 is that generosity is the devoid of gift. So devoid of gift, receiver, and the giver is called supramundane perfections. So, which means the intrinsically, while they are in this kind of compassion towards sentient beings, and out of compassion, they give things to the sentient beings. Jimba means the substance that you give, right? They have, emptied the intrinsic nature and the substance they are giving. And the receivers, so there too are absence of intrinsic existence. The giver himself is also absence of intrinsic existence. So while this kind of practice of generosity simultaneously, underpinned with the wisdom that, empty the intrinsic nature in the giver and the receiver in the gift. So that's why they do not have any attachment. So the compassions free the attachments, and the compassions bring closer to the sentient beings. And sometimes we have seen the wisdoms that continuously keeping yourself distance from ordinary sentient beings. The compassion continuously, pulling towards the sentient beings. So there's a two, what we call two energies. One that's keeping yourself, far from these ordinary beings, because the way you are thinking and saying and doing are far different from the ordinary. But at the same time, they are too close, very close to the sentient being because of the compassions. So there's two kind of magnetic working there, functioning. One is keeping, pulling towards that. One is, what we call keeping yourself distance from it, or making yourself different from others. So that's why, because of the wisdom, they do not have any attachment. And because of the compassions, they can, their sense of care or the sense of cherishing to the sentient beings. So with this kind of compassions, the generosity becomes the perfection of generosity.
So wisdom is being treated separately as from compassion.
Wisdom is saying there's nothing to abide, there's nothing to attach. The compassion says, I have to go there. Even there is, it's like a rainbow, there's nothing to touch. I want to see it. So the compassion, what do you call it? Compassions, the compassions, bringing yourself closer to the sentient beings. Wisdom says there's nothing to attach, nothing to abide, nothing to, there's no any intangible things to attach it to compassion.
We are treating compassion and wisdom as two separate things.
Yes, yeah. So I think because of this keeps very perfectly balanced for the bodhisattvas. Without any afflictive emotions, they can perfect the generosities, the patience, the moralities, concentrations. So without the wisdoms, yes, there is the way to, cultivate the concentrations, merit, but this all because of the lack of the wisdoms. This is like so lack of the wisdoms. You go like when you climb up the mountains, and when you come to the top, and there's nothing to climb, and you just roll back again. So this is the, so the with wisdoms, there's a continuous, endless and moving to forwards. There's no end. Yeah, I think so. Shut up the Jiden, Jiden and devas. Jiden, shut up. The wisdom is, so wisdom is your knowledge making yourself different from others. So different from others, or kind of keeping yourself separate from others. The compassions bringing too closer to the sentient beings. So similar in the knowledge. Knowledge has this kind of what do I say? The character of knowledge. Anything to gain, there has some kind of like wealth, knowledge, always thinks that more you gain, more you become different from others, more you distance from others. Right? So then when there's the compassions, and then compassions, the connecting, so more you become richer and more you will become knowledgeable and more you are connected to the sentient beings. So otherwise, like being a balloon, so you keep going up, 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 and then you blow up in the sky, right? So there's that the strength that if that is tied up in the trees or the anything, and it won't go all the way up. So the compassion is just rooted in in the base. I think there are many like through generosities you can born, moralities you can born in higher rebirth like God realms, and through the concentration you can born in form realm, right, and the formless realms. But once you're born there, you will kind of experience the result of your the positive karma, your merit. So you're just enjoying the interest of that. So then all the result that you have consumed, and then you have to once fall back to the desire again. So the compassion and with wisdoms, and then compassion, kind of always have some kind of, compassion gives you the home to live, to stay, the wisdom that really, make you, perfect.
So it's a supramundane perfection and mundane perfection happens at the same time, or is it one after?
So that's the mundane and supramundane. Supramundane is, is wisdom. Jigdan and devas. The mundane is the ordinary sentient beings. Supramundanes is your surpass from the ordinary beings. So that's I think that's the kind of quality that brought up from this wisdom, the understanding of the emptiness of the absence of intrinsic existence of the giver and the gift and the receiver.
So it's almost like the supramundane wisdom and compassion are inseparable. like they're very close to
Yeah.
that, right?
So yeah, this is kind of if you only wisdoms, then they, for example, arhats. So they, from the beginning, their aim is to free oneself from the suffering, and then they have, when they succeed on the path, overcoming all the afflictive emotions, then they will just stay in that peace for eons and eons. Right? So it's kind of they are. So they have not much connection, not much beneficial for the sentient beings. So the Buddha and the Bodhisattvas, more and more they improve and increases the quality more and more and beneficial to the sentient beings. So that because of keeping this balance of wisdom and compassion. So that so the last stanza says, abiding perfectly in the Bodhisattva's mind. So abiding perfectly in the Bodhisattva's mind, these compassions, out of compassion, the perfection, generosity, and the wisdom realizing emptiness of the giver and the gift and the receiver. So abiding perfectly in the Bodhisattva's mind and endowed with the light, beauty, beautifying the sublime ones. So that beautifies the first movement of the Bodhisattvas. The ground of the perfect joy is the waters as a crystal gem, the moon, like moon, yeah. Nubuchushes, so which dispelled all the darkness and rain victories. So I think you see it in even the ordinary people, who has much knowledge and less compassion, or someone has more compassion, less knowledge. So both has some kind of, it's not really complete, it's not perfecting. So too much knowledge, too little compassion. Again, problems. You have compassion but no knowledge. So the perfectly abiding two quality in their mind, compassion and the knowledge, that beautifies that person. Sometimes we call tone tendence. Tone tendence means, in his holiness, whenever there's oracle, possessed, and he always refer his holiness tone tendence. Tone tendence means, the kind of like meaningful appearance. So you're having seen you, having presence of you, it makes you meaningful. So the which she shares is like a moon, right? It gives you the light and gives you the very coolness. So that's the Bodhisattva's first for me.
I get a little confused with that first line in 16. Generosity devoid of the gift, the receiver and the giver. Sometimes I look at it like the gift, the receiver, and the giver are dependent on each other. because you can't be a giver without a receiver. You have to have something to give that the receiver needs. But then there's also the projection that we're putting on the, like intrinsically I am the giver, or never changing kind of, or
I think there's a many ways to kind of explain the interpret on that. So very ordinary level, the interpretation. So no devoid of gift means. So the giver actually is from one aspect. The giver is one who has owned that gift and giving to the others. And then if he is ultimate giver, and he shouldn't be receiving anything from it. If the giver is not receiving anything, there's no beneficial at all for him why he would give. So if there's the benefit, and he is not only the giver, he is also the receiver. So there is no ultimate giver. So if you give, the hungry person one bread, so you also expect, by giving this, you may receive some kind of merit, or you expect something. So you become, in that case, you are also the receiver, So, and you receive through whom? Through the destitute person. He is not, ultimately destitute. So he can help you to accumulate the merits. Right? Giving the birds and the cats, So even they have no intention to give you anything, there are the conditions that can make you a receiver. Right? So there is no ultimate giver. Right? And then the second thing is there is no giver that intrinsically exists, means there is no giver, there is no me, and intrinsically exist. So if there is no me that intrinsically exists, inherent in the body, inherent in the mind, inherent in emotion, inherent in elements, so the elements, the bodies, the sense powers, the emotions, the perceptions are totally devoid of existing of self. So how can there be, giver that solidly exists that you can say, I am this? Right. So there is no giver, therefore there's nothing to attach that can allow you to take pride on I am the one who giving. And then the substance, you say, substance, the substance, the bread or the money or anything. So that is also, the value, but conventionally. So it's involved not only you. You are not only one that valuing that gift that can be given to someone who can use it. There's a whole people, So the dollar, the value of the dollars is not just the value by one person. So whole world, the financial, economic, that gives the value to that, then you are able to give as the gift to the others. Otherwise, just paper. If you give one, you tear down one page from it and give to others. So I don't need it. There is no value. Value is not given by or imposed by one person. So many. So that's why the gift is not intrinsic. So sometimes you see the France money, United States dollar. The France money looks better. You can see through. That's right. You can wash it many times. It will still there. So it's kind of not the substance itself is the gift. As the gift is they characterize the by the people. Right? So we have $1, $5, that the value is given by whole world, not by yourself. So there is no independent gift to give. So there is no independent receiver because there is no sentient beings. There is no male or female, intrinsically or inherent in the body and the mind. And also giving is sometimes say so bodhisattva's dedications. And sometimes in the text it says the hell beings, and some very short time they can feel the cold air, feel comfortable, the pleasures. So that is also the result of their previous karma or the bodhisattva's dedications or the relatives and their friends, their dedications. They can, turn that the air and cool, and that brings the pleasure to the individual. So there is no kind of intrinsic things. Sometimes, you can have pleasures after the exercise and go outside fresh, and you can experience the breeze of that. So, this is very comfortable. It's a beautiful day. So, and then maybe they will disappear in the 5 minutes. So so in this way, the saying, gift, giver, the receivers, intrinsically, not exist. So relatively, so if relatively there is no independent giver, there is no independent receiver. So there is no independent receiver, there's just receiver, not giver. There is no such thing. So when you receive, you give, right? I think it's in India there it says, business people, spending is earning. So more you spend, you earn. If you don't spend, you should keep everything. So there's no increasing, And sometimes they say, the substance that you give more, it will become less. Knowledge that you give more, it increases. So now we have to think. And why we say more you spend, more you earn. So devoid of the gift and the receiver, the givers. So there is no self or person that intrinsically exists. I think that's the self is so right now in our mind the self means who controls, who is the owner. So there is no owner or controller of air that you breathe in and out. So you cannot control. Once you breathe in, it has to go out. Once you breathe out, and it automatically breathes in. So there is no self who is doing that. It's just your, what do you call it?
Oh,
The pipe. It's the nature of the pipe. So
the lung,
you,
the muscle.
yeah, lung, the muscle, they are all doing the breathing in and out. You are not doing it. So, and I am looking, but like, I am looking. I don't want to look at it. So, looking is. So, I sense powers, consciousness, the mental, attention to the colors. So these are whole, the relatively, and relatively generating that kind of seeing and not seeing. There is no one single entity as the I who controls looking and not looking, seeing and not seeing. So everything we are doing, they're like, if you are thinking of I am breathing, you are thinking of I am seeing, you are thinking of I am feeding myself, you are thinking about doing something, I am doing something, I'm walking, I'm sitting. So the artificial intelligence, that is artificial intelligence. So, so yeah, that's the perfection of generosities. So then the second ground, the stainless, stainless ground. The first ground called joyful. The perfect of joy, the stainless. The stainless, he is endowed with the perfect morality and purity, even in the dreams. He shunned the stain of the immorality, since all movement of his body, speech, and mind are pure. He accumulated the excellent virtue of all 10 course of actions. So that again, back to the compassions and the wisdom that purified, his body, speech, and mind. So every activities of the body, speech, and mind is, the virtuous activities. So that's why the second bhumi, the stainless bhumi, there is no immorality, even in the dreams. So I think there's a little bit lelam chu. Virtue of all 10 course of actions. 10 course of actions and 10 actions are a little bit different. 10 actions is part of the, body, speech, and mind, is the form. 10 course, lelams means is more referring to the mental state. So intention. By perfecting his mind, therefore, the what call the any intentions or any motivations or any desire that that allows the body, speech, and the mind to engage an object, because the mind itself is pure. So therefore, all the actions, activities, the body, speech, and mind become the virtuous actions. So even in the dream, this person's, the second bhumi, has no any immorality activities.
So if I'm understanding, because the forms, which are like the mental states that the actions come from, because those forms are pure, then those 10 actions are pure. Is that correct?
Can you say that again?
So the 10, you said the forms of action, right?
The course, I'm trying to say it, course of actions.
Course of action.
Course of 10 course of actions and 10 actions. So 10 actions is, for example, if my mind is really angry, right? So I want to say something bad. But because I took the vows, I kind of restrain myself to saying things, bad things, right? So this is considered as the virtue. Although my mind against that. So the course of action now here's, the motivations, the mind state of mind is the pure. So there is nothing that I can intend to do something bad or say something bad. So course of action is more to the virtues is like my whole chain of that, the mental state, and then actions, like mind, this mental state, and the speech, mental state and body actions, mental state and concept thinking, thought process.
So if I have a hate to something, somebody, if hate comes up, I suppress it or control it. That's one thing. But in this state, the hate doesn't even come up.
Yeah, it doesn't. Yeah, the hate is not there. Because, for example, when we took the monastic vows, the lay vows, so the day you took the vows, the hate is still there. But because of the vow, I'm not allowed to say, and I'm not going to violate my promise. So it's still this considered as the virtue, because of the vow, you kind of you value that vows. Therefore, you are not engaging in negative actions. I consider the virtue, but the whole course is not a virtue. State of mind is against that virtue. So the 10 course and 10 virtues. So Lelamchu. So Lelamchu is more talking about the virtuous state of the mind. Sometimes you'd say lay vows, 1 day lay vows. Right? Every day you kill those insects. So then say, oh, today I took the vows. I shouldn't be doing anything, although I want to kill this. So that restraint is considered as a virtue, right? But it's the whole course is not virtue.
That means that this state there's nothing to really restrain, nothing to.
So there is no any restraining because it's just pure flowing, virtuous activities. So therefore, even in a dream, there's nothing he can imagine he was wanting to do something bad. It's an excellent virtue over 10 course of actions. So there's a different 10 actions, 10 virtuous action, 10 course of actions. So not only this path of the virtue, but in the all 10 deeds, he become the most excellent and pure, just as the radiant autumn moon adorn the night sky. Morality is adorns him with peace and radiance. So I think that's so this the radiance is there's some kind of in this Vinaya text, this is so the day you took the vows, there's a two kind of form of the vows. One that vows within your body, one vows that can be seen in a form by other people. So vow by taking. So this is called imperceptible kind of there's a form. So imperceptible form. So number rimi is so so there's sometimes the Vinaya and the because when it comes to the talking about the qualities of this radiance, the form of light that that's distinct from other people. So there's a Vinaya text that says when the Buddha and with whole monks, the bhikshus, so morning go out for the alms. So the Buddha is always visible, among the 110,000 people. He is just, what you call, stands out. So that's the kind of, the qualities that's produced by this perfection of the moralities. So I think this is why they use the term the radiance. So yeah. So number 3, should he though pure, see in terms of the intrinsic nature, his morality will remain impure because of this. Keditine tinda rangshin tesa. Tinda rangshin tejitine surim tamenjur. Tejitine tadu sumjalani nilun juwayanda tewagyos. So should he, though pure, see in the terms of the intrinsic nature, his morality will remain impure because of this. Thus, with respect to all 3 elements of the discipline, he always remained free from the flow of kind of dualistic thought. So now they're saying Surim Nambratavas. Surim Nambratava means pure, I don't know what the word is. Surim Nambratava means maybe, let's say use good morality and, maybe perfect moralities. So good moralities means the morality that never really violates, but still, it is not necessary you have the pure and complete the moralities. So because, because you are constantly trying to, restrain yourself. There's some kind of, there's in your mind, I shouldn't be doing this. I shouldn't be doing this means you wanting to do, right? You want to say something, right? So you keep forcing yourself not to engage is a morality, but it's not the pure morality.
Teacher, what is the 3 elements of bodhisattva?
3 elements. 3 elements are discipline: body, speech, and mind. Body, speech, and mind. So even the mental state and the morality, maxim nesims, Napsim is what is the English word for that? The 10 virtues, the last mental state. Napsim is something that you have so much attached to the, Napsim means when you have good watch, I keep looking at, oh, I want this. Right.
Envy?
Envy, that's envy. And Nasim means there is some kind of, harmful thought. So harmful thought, envy, and then the wrong views. So you are always trying hard to suppress those things, although you see this is constantly. There is a possible of the manifestation of the envy and then the harmful thoughts and the wrong views. But you say, oh, pray to the Buddhas, Buddha Dharma Sangha. I go for, you're trying to, you're trying to protect yourself from those, negative state of mind. So which means you are really good at, taking care of it. Yeah. You are, what is the word for that?
Maintaining.
You are trying to maintain your morality. You're trying to protect. You're trying to, trying to settle in that moralities. But they're constantly this, against. So it's the morality, the good morality, but it's not really pure. So when there, because of this perfection of the wisdoms, that, totally quiet those, envy and the harmful thoughts and the wrong views. There's no space for them. So now your morality is not really there's no restraining. You don't need any, stop sign, right? There's no stop sign. It's just, on the freeway, continues going. Because of this, the free from flow of the dualistic thoughts, because you understand there is nothing intrinsically exist. That absence of intrinsic natures is not intellectually understood. You're directly and observing in that absence of intrinsic existence. So therefore, you do not have any thought of harmful and envy in these things. So your morality become not only the good morality, is the pure morality. So wealth through the generosity is found even in the lower rounds. This occurs when one has, fractures the legs of the moralities. When interest and capital, right? Capital itself are the both exhausted, no prospect remain for one of the any future wealth. So now saying the result of the generosity, you can also count as a higher rebirths, human being and God being. But generosity also, is without associating with the morality. Generosity is like, the fractured leg, one leg's broken, so you cannot climb up. So the generosity is without moralities. There's no way you can go on a higher rebirth. But still, the result of the generosity may experience in the lower realm. So that's why some of the Nagas are very rich, the wealthy Nagas. So they practice the generosities, but
Not with morality.
not yeah. And sometimes there's a great Indian master, went to the Mithi. When he came to Tibet, he came along with the Tibetan translator, so from India to Tibet. And when he reached the Tibet, his translator died. So he has no translator. So now he's become, he kind of the wandering in the village, and there's a big family, rich family. They keep him as a servant. So the great scholars, many, I think it looks like many months, he just, work as a yak herder.
Mhm.
So every morning he has to bring all the yaks and sheep in the mountain. And then in the evening he has to bring it back. That's his job, because he could not really speak any languages. So the family thought that this is just, local, sadhu baba. So Mithi is like that. So Mithi choose that family because I think there's some people says that Mithi choose this family because his mother born as a, hungry ghost in their house. And then this is what does it look like? His mother is born as hungry ghost, and they have big kitchens. And the very corner, one side, there is the creatures who has the gold stove on the lap, and just holding on that. So that's his mother. He has generosity. She has generosity. Therefore, she has the gold stove, but could not use the hungry ghosts. So then, during the Buddha Shakyamuni, again, there's one of the king of the Naga. King of the Nagas have many, what called. So there's the tree that grows in his head, many branches that really kind of cause so much pain in his head. So that is also kind of violation of the kind of vows. So once he was a monk, took the vows, not cutting the branches. So in his cave, there's a tree, the branch, constantly, obstruct him to go out all the time. And he was a little bit annoyed, and he said, "Oh, I took the vows. I'm not going to cut this branch." And second time, so he really was annoyed, and he says, what kind of stupid vows is this? He cut all the trees. That stupid vows. He says, so next time you're born in Naga, they have very so this, this is why they call morality is the downfall activities. Kind of, the violations of the morality is the downfall actions. So jimbe longjo tan dongyan kiwa tsirun kamba nyamli chungsa. So wealth through the generosity is found even in the lower realms. This occurs when one has fractured the legs of the morality, when interest in the capital itself are both exhausted. So when you're born and you experience the result of the generosities, and you are using the capital and the interest both in that realm. So, and then after that life, and you have finished, you have no good result, no positive result. So the born in heaven is also like that. God realm is also, you're using the interest and the capital at both same time. So that's the about the moralities. So now this is very important. When free and living with favorable conditions, we do not retain this status we enjoy. We will fall into the abyss and be at the mercy of others. What could enable us to rise up again from such states? So now right now you're born as human beings, and you have, good conditions. So with these good conditions, if you're not able to cultivate, the virtues, cultivating the merits and the wisdoms, and when the life is ended, and you have no guarantee what your next life will be. Like even in the animal realms and the lower realms, even you're born as the God beings. So once you complete your result, and there's no way you can really, in that realm, you are not able to accumulate any merit and wisdom. So right now, this is the way you're born as a human being, and being able to being able to receive the teachings, and being able to understand and contemplate. And so these good conditions, you have to use, take advantages in this life to cultivate more merits and wisdoms. So the lower realm and the God beings are also not accumulating any merits in the wisdoms. So only the human beings is able to, create the karma to be born in the lower realm, to be born in a higher rebirth, to gain the liberations and enlightenment. So this is the best conditions born as human being. So therefore, having engaged in a discourse on the generosity, the Buddha proceed to the discourse on the moralities. So that's the second Buddha talk about the morality. And when qualities spring up in the field of the moralities, enjoyment of their fruit will become the continuous. So with moralities, so that gives the basic, give basis to cultivate other perfections, like patience and concentrations and wisdoms. So ordinary beings and the speech-born Sharvakas, and those who are established for the self-enlightenment, like Pratika Buddhas, and the child of the conquerors, the bodhisattvas, as to their definite goodness and birth in the higher realms, the cause is none other than the moralities. So this is the just as the ocean of the corpse do not remain together, corpse, right? So dead body, corpse. How to pronounce corpse?
Corpse.
Corpse, yeah. Just as the ocean and the corpse do not remain together, and just as the good fortune and the calamity do not keep company, likewise the great ones who are governed by morality do not wish for the company of immoralities. So this is why sometimes they call Tashinanamadas, fortune and calamity. This is going back to the Puran story, Lakshmi. Lakshmi is an auspicious lady. So inauspicious lady. So they don't really stay together. Wherever there's an auspicious lady, inauspicious lady won't come. Whether in Hindu, there's a mythical stories. Lord Vishnu's the wife is the Lakshmi, and then there's another one, Alakshana. So there's another lady. That lady, if somewhere coming closer to your village, and there are a lot of inauspicious happen. So in the old time they were saying, people use the cow dung to to clean up the environment. So the keeping clean house and outside is to welcoming the Lakshmi. And if you have very dirty, and then Alakshana will come. That's it. So like this two, so like the crops and the oceans together. Now this is talking about the morality, perfection of the morality and the morality, who relinquish what and in relation to whom, when any of these three are objectified, such morality is described as the mundane perfections. Free from attachment to these three is supramundane. So
it almost sounds like giver.
Yeah.
I was confused. What is relinquish supposed to mean?
So morality, I think here the morality of not killing, morality of not lying. So what lie you have, what lie you have tell, and to whom you lie, and who is lying, right? So if you objectify, there's the person intrinsically exists that you are telling lie. The lie itself is intrinsically exists. One who is lying is also intrinsically exist. With this kind of misconceptions, when very how's that strong, and with that kind of morality, it's called mundane morality. This is a very painful morality. It's very, very difficult, because the person you think, you are lying to, and you also think in your mind he deserved that lying, and the lie itself is something you objectified, and the liar who is lying is very satisfying, So, but still, you took the vows not to tell a lie, but you think that other person who deserves lying, and lying, has the power, and the liars, by lying, it satisfies you, but you don't want to lie. That's very, very painful. Yeah. That kind of moralities. And sometimes, there's another one, stealing things, So there are many, in Hindu, so the Brahmin caste, some are very cruel and very, very, abusive to other lower castes. So they think they deserve that. So they are more superior. So they deserve to abuse. So, yeah, this kind of, again, coming from their religion, their kind of, religion is, influencing you, impacting you, and that it is right to do that. And again, at the same time, the religion says you have to be compassionate, you have to be, you have to see a Bhagavan in every sentient being. There's a big contradictions that put, so much people in very confusing, because in Hindu they talk about dharma, dharma. So there's not much really deep interpretation of kind of on the dharmas. Dharma is very confusing. Dharma is the actions that you do. The sweepers do the sweepings, and is the dharma. And soldiers who kills enemies is the dharma. And the practitioners who do the prayers is dharma. So everything is dharma. So then, if you're born as a higher caste, and you have the way you treat yourself, the superior is dharma.
So is it almost like duty?
Yeah, it's kind of, it's the right actions that you should do or you are allowed to do,
Well, then this sounds like an extremely difficult subject here, and almost difficult to really understand very deeply. Like if someone comes to kill you, or kill your wife or husband, or kill anyone, it's almost I mean, on the one hand, you can say there's no right to self-defense. There's no right to protect someone else. And of course, I mean, from a mundane perspective here, you have no right to fight back against some party that's doing tremendous evil. Maybe if you're able to hold, this is the more delicate area, maybe if you're able to hold on to the view that there's no one being killed and there's no killer and there's no action, then maybe in some cases there is some, you're not solidifying, you're not.
So first you understand we are right now talking about the mundane moralities. So mundane moralities and supramundane moralities.
Yeah, it seems like supermundane is, I mean, here's where I'm having difficulty. When you're talking about supermundane.
So your supermundane says there is not no right to against.
Well, here's the question. In supermundane reality, either there's no right to self-defense or extinct. I mean, like even the story of Landharma was assassinated, right? I don't think the yogi, of course, the yogi who assassinated Landharma was an enlightened being. We're not enlightened beings. I mean, I remember Dalai Lama being asked in Los Angeles if you were like in the war room and someone was about to hit the button to that would result in the killing of millions of people, would you, and you could stop it by killing the person, what would you do? Would you kill the person to prevent the death of millions of others? And I mean, Dalai Lama answered it in a little bit of an inconclusive way. He said, I would seriously consider that. In other words, consider killing the person who was about to take the life of many beings. That's how he answered. He didn't say I would or I wouldn't. He said I would consider it. Now my question is the dharmic violation in seeing intrinsic existence when you take life, or is it in taking life itself in the case where someone is about to do a harmful act that will take people's lives? Is it a question of the mind, or is it a question of the action? In other words, if in the mind, you're not solidifying anyone or anything or any action is intrinsic, is that, and you take an action to prevent harm being done. I mean, it seems it's very not so obvious to separate the mundane from the supermundane in some cases. I don't quite know how to do it. Do you understand my difficulty here?
Your difficulties, so you have already presumed that, supermundanes, when you talk about, intrinsic, the absence of the liars to whom you lie, and the lie himself, absence. We are not talking about, you have no right to, You are not right to lie. We are not talking about the right or wrong. So the absence of intrinsic nature, empty of intrinsic nature, is to not fixate on lying itself, to whom you lie. It's not talking about, you have no right to lie to that person. So this is you are already interpreted in your mind, and you're cautioning from your own, Plus you should, so supermundanes, we are not talking about, there is no right to kill or wrong to kill. So we also mentioned about the Bodhisattva Munis in the previous life, one of the captain who killed the bad person, and to protect the 500 people in that boat, and to protect the bad people himself going into lower realm, hell realm. So instead of him going to hell realm, he said, I am going to hell realm. So by protecting the 500 people, protecting the person himself. So I don't really know why you have this kind of question.
Well, it's true that I've hardened something by conceptualizing, of course, that there are bad people. It's true. I think, there are bad people who would take life without.
So if you keep killing bad people, and then you will find more and more bad people in the good people. So within the good people, there are some are bad, and you have to kill those bad. And last time, you are the only one left, so the perfect one's left. So you kill all.
Right.
So not because of the bad people. Bad people is not the reason to harm. So is here the compassion and the wisdom is not attaching to any good person or the bad person. Compassion is caring for bad people, good people. Now you have to come to the sometime you come to the point that so this person, individual, has planned this much people to kill. So I'm very convinced that. So without doing anything against that person's, so I'm kind of keep myself indifferent. So I know this person is going to kill, but I say, I'm compassionate. I compassion to this person and those people. Then this is the violation of the bodhisattva swabha. So being indifferent is the bodhisattva violation of the bodhisattva swabha. So you have to do, or say or things. So the indifferent is very, very bad, and the bodhisattva swabha is being indifferent, not feeling. Or sometimes too sensitive about yourself. So if I do that, and I may be praised out of that kind of attachment. Again, that is also the violations of the bodhisattva swabhas.
Yeah, I have a little difficulty whether there's a difference between indifference and impartiality. If you're impartial, you're not indifferent, right? So, I don't know, maybe you shouldn't be impartial to anyone. You also shouldn't be indifferent. They're not quite the same. Is there some distinction?
You cannot use indifferent generally. So you have to go a little specific. So, for example, there's the man, Mr. A, is trying to harm or trying to do something, harmful to, Mr. B, C, D, E, F, G. So, and now you know that Mr. A is doing something. And by saying, oh, I have to be compassionate to both, so I'm not going to against Mr. A, that is indifferent. So that is the violation of the bodhisattva's vows. So the indifferent means now here saying, if someone is yelling at you, and it's something you haven't done, he would think that you have done something bad and yelling at you and being indifferent. So that is a good thing. So just let him express, let him just blow up his emotions, just kind of finish this, whatever he has, accumulated in his, trash. So just let it out. And being indifferent is a good thing. So language is just a tool. You have to know the which subject and object. In this way, you can say this indifference is bad, this indifference is good.
Well, you might be in a situation where someone is in a state of rage. You can't really calm that person down. You may not be able to stop them from their action.
Yeah.
Even you're saying something which may have positive intention may result in them taking your life or someone else's life. So, it seems to me you just can't intercede every time you see someone about to do some bad action. You can't always stop their they're accumulating negative karma, but you can't be in a position of being the ultimate judge of stopping someone each time you see negative karma being accumulated.
Yeah. So here, right now we are talking about two kinds of moralities. One, the morality with objectifying subject and object and actions. One, the moralities is, emptying the intrinsic natures, not object. There is no objectivity in subject and object and actions. The supramundane morality is, emptying the objectivity on the subject, action, and object. So that kind of keep the morality more pure, because this will, this will free the state of mind from anger and attachment. So no anger, no attachment with that moralities, not lying, not killing, not stealing, is the morality, and it is the pure morality. So, and one, the moralities, although you are restraining to saying lying or killing, but you think that is the person, the subject, the object, the person who you lie, you think he deserved that, and you wanted to, deceive him. But at the same time, you took the vow, so therefore I'm not going to say things. So that is the mundane moralities, because you have objectified the subject and object and actions. Therefore, there is mental state is not pure, but because of you are just respect the vows, and simply because of that you are restraining to lying. That is the mundane moralities. Right. So this just two things: mundane morality and the supramundane moralities.
You're saying just focus on that and don't be distracted by any concrete situations, I think. I think that's what you're saying. Just understand the difference. Is that what you're saying?
Because this is the stanzas. It explains two kind of making a distinctions: mundane morality and supermundane moralities. So your questions raised from you think that supermundane morality is there's being indifferent from anything. Therefore, you have nothing to say bad thing about. So the supermundane morality is not in being indifferent. Supermundane morality is there's nothing to hate. There's no objectivities to hate. There's no objectivities to attach. Therefore, I am not attached to anyone. I am not angry with anything. So, with this state of mind and not lying and not killing and not stealing is the pure morality. It's not indifferent morality. It is the intelligent, right? It's the wise, the pure state of mind. So Bodhisattva's, Buddha Shakyamuni's one of his lives who killed the captains is also, it's not, he is not indifferent, from the 500 peoples, the captains, and the what do you call the captain, the bad captain. So he is not indifferent, but he has no attached to the captain. He has no attached to the 500 people. So there is no objectivity in the 500 people. There's no objectivity in the captain himself. But so because he is not indifferent, he don't feel indifferent because he cares for the 500 people. He cares for the captain himself. Therefore, if this person will kill the 500 people, definitely, right after the death, he will go to the hell realm. So instead of him going, I will go to the hell realm. So the emptying, the objectivity is not being indifferent. If the emptiness makes you makes you indifferent from others, then the Bodhisattva says no feeling at all to us, Buddha Shakyamuni. So there's no sense of feeling towards any sentient beings. Because he is permanently, forever abiding in emptiness. Yeah. Any other alien questions you have? So every time you raise the questions, it's like a new person. So that's the kind of negating the objectivity of receiver and the giver and the gift, negating the objectivity of the subject to whom you lie, the lie itself, and the liar. So that's very important because to keep the mind pure from attachment, free from attachment and anger. So and sometimes in the Tantrayana they use those afflictive emotions. Even sometimes they use the afflictive emotion because they have so much control, over any emotions. So no emotion can hijack their mind. So then they go kind of use them to increases their knowledge and to increases their sometimes realizations. So Ningju To means like those wrathful deities, with very look wrathful, is out of compassion. So the compassion, out of compassion, there's some of the wrathful actions. Out of compassion, sometimes there's the attachment. So the no emotional can really influence or impact that mind. So because of their realizations, they can use them. They can slave them emotionally. So that's the stainless state of the second bhumi. These bodhisattvas are born of the radiance, moon of the moralities, who is not of the second existence, yet it is the glory. Yes, the knowledge simi sipa is penjur timatante timamepandians. So bodhisattva born of the radiance, the moon of the moralities, who is not of the second existence, yet it is the glory. So it means it is, they are not in this cycling in samsara, but they are the glory of the second existence. It's like a lotus born from the muddy water. Is the beautify the water. It looks better. So the stainless who, like moonlight on an autumn night, removes the pain from the minds of the sentient beings. So I think that's why they are, perfect refuge, of the Sangha. Because they, perfect refuge means, so they themselves are free from all the negativities and the afflict, here. So it's not being, no possible their mind can defeat it by any afflictive emotions. So the afflicted people, sentient beings, could take refuge to them. Right. So this is like, no enemy. There's a person who is cannot be defeated by any enemy. So we can take refuge to him to protect ourselves from the enemy. So Sangha is one of the, refuge object. If someone we kind of, ask help, that person, is not free from anger. So he can maybe for this temporarily, he can help you from your enemy, but he can be envy yourself in some time. So he keep reminding you, oh, I helped you that time, So keep saying it that annoyed you, so he can be, enemy. So the bodhisattvas, the first bhumi, the second bhumi is that they're never really turned into you as any enemy, because he is free from any affliction, not his mind, his state of mind cannot be defeated by any afflictive emotion. So the third bhumi, the luminous Simje Sumba, because of the fire burning of the fuel of all phenomena, produce the light here. This third ground is called the luminous. The luminous. Here, the child of the Tathagata perceives the, a copper color glow like that of the sunrise. So this because of this, the perfection of the wisdoms, direct realization of wisdoms, that burns sheji pushin malu segme yunjunchina san sumbadins. So here the fire is referring to the anger or any harmful thought. So this third bhumi has completely, suppress or kind of overcome the anger or any harmful thought. Therefore, he has perfected the patience. Some masters, some commentary says the child with Tathagata perceived the copper color like color glow like that of the sunrise. So this bodhisattva has, because of his the third bhumi state of the realization emptiness has completely and totally eradicated, this self-sufficient honor I as a totally remove and eradicate. So that's why this is copper color glow like of that of a sunrise. Sometimes some commentary says this bodhisattva's in the meditations, the appearance, the first appearance is like a sunrise appearance. So through this meditation state of mind has that kind of, generates the appearance in their mind. The first, when they, when they attain the third bhumi, the first appearance like, sunrise like appearance. So that is the sign of totally eradicating, eliminating the concept of self-sufficient I. So ownerships is totally eradicated. Sheji Pushin Malu Sebe, Sheji Pushin Malu Sebe. Sheji Pushin Malu Sebe, because the burning of the fuel of all phenomena produce light hears. So here the fire of the wisdoms that overcomes any harmful thoughts, and particularly concept of self-sufficient I. So word described the person to slice, what's that? Nemi tuba gayati lule shanda ruche yurindu sarari ne cheba kuyantes. Slices flesh from the bones of the body of a bodhisattva, though he be, how's that? I don't know, this was a little bit different. So now they're talking about the patient, what kind of the measurement of this patience, and how patient he is. So we describe the person sliced the flesh from the bone the body of the bodhisattva, though he be innocent, cutting it off once by once over a prolonged period. This will serve to increase his forbearance towards the tortures. So, as you remember, the one of the Bodhisattva's life, when Buddha Shakyamuni was, not enlightened at the time he was a bodhisattva. In the forest, he was meditating, and then the king and the group of, the people come into the forest, and then king was going out for the hunting, and all the queens and many people surrounded that. One of the bodhisattvas. So they were listening to him. And the king was very angry, and the ministers, they come. So why you keep, why you are surrounding with my wives? So, and the king says, what you practicing here? And the bodhisattva said, I'm practicing patience. And he said, are you sure you're practicing patience? And he kind of draw his sword and cuts one limb, one hand, right hand, left hand, or the one hand, and then he says, so what are you practicing now? He said, I'm still practicing patience. I cut his another hand, and then cut the leg one by one. And and each time he cuts the limbs, and he asks, what are you practicing? And this bodhisattva says, I'm practicing patience. And at the end, 4 limbs are cut. And he says, bodhisattva says, if my patience is pure and truth, so all the limbs join back to my body, instantly, there's nothing happened. So he was okay. The king was so, he was so regret, and he crying and begging that says, please forgive me. I did not know, you have that, you have gained that much high realizations. I did not know. So, and the Bodhisattva says, so you have helped me to perfecting my patience. So that when I, become enlightened, when I gain Buddhahood, the first I will give you my nectars. So in the Varanas is the first 5 disciples among the 5. So Acharya Kundiniya is one who first gained noble wisdom. So for him, the Buddha was showing his finger, said, do you understand? Do you realize you have gained the knowledge? So keep saying. And the rest he did not do that. And then the 5 disciples, the rest of the disciples says, why particularly him? You are just pointing at him. And the Buddha said, oh, that was a long time ago. So he was keep telling me, what are you practicing? Are you practicing patience or not? So so that's the Buddha Shakyamuni's retaliations, so the pointing finger at him. So that kind of this third bhumi. Because there is, for the noble beings, there is no pain cutting their limbs. That's the benefit of, so cutting limbs, cutting heads, there is no pain for them. Because their body is, called nature of the wisdom. So as ordinary bodhisattvas who has not gained that the bhumis state, so they have to run. If someone draw the sword, they have to run away. That's the best for them. If you're noble beings, you just sit there and you show off your qualities. So that, towards the 4 children. So now the reason he is saying why this bodhisattva has not showing any pain for a bodhisattva who sees the selflessness. So they're saying direct realization is emptiness. Who cuts what at what point kange kanshi kanze chidrachis. So what means kangshi? What means like limbs? And second, what point, with sword, kind of sword or any what you call sui, right? Sawing machines, or any kind of hammers, whatever. And in a time, what manners, how slow, how fast, what manner. He sees all phenomena as image in a mirror. So he sees everything's like, reflections. And by seeing thus too, he will have such forbearance. Because of that, the pure and the powerful, the wisdom that can never really distract or shake or shift from the realization emptiness. So he sees everything is like a reflection, moon, reflection of the moonlight, dream-like phenomena. So because of that, the powerful realizations, so he has not shown any pain. So I remember one time His Holiness was giving a teaching in Dharamsala about the patience. And when His Holiness explained the patience, and you have the patience towards the enemies, it says. If the real enemy comes, you have to run. So before he comes, when he is the enemy, and then you have to be generally compassion towards him. If physically comes to you to try and harm, you have to run away. So, or you are, you can, you can defend yourself. If the Bodhisattva was a noble being, then you don't have to run away, So now this is the sentence number 3 is number 3. 1, 2, 3. 3 saying that about the patience. So what is how you can really forbearance some such harmful things, how it is possible. So then if you respond, I said, vengeance, vengeance means never shivik.
With anger, to get revenge.
Yeah. When someone harm you, so if you respond to, revenge when someone harm you, does your bitterness reverse what was already done? So the resentment serves no purpose here in this life. And it brings more conflict in the world beyond too. So the revenge is the retaliations has no beneficials. So the revenge is not going to erase the bitterness or the pain that you experienced in the past. in the first place. And then more revenge brings more harm to you. And not only this life and next life. So the angers, the result, the immediate result of the angers is always first harmful to yourself. Your angers brings the pain or suffering first to yourself. Then there's a chances, there's a possible of harmful to others. The anger really, just being angry, not liking others, is not going to harm to others. It only harms to yourself. So if one time anger is harmful to yourself, twice harmful to yourself. More and more and more harmful to yourself. And then it will leave the residue, kind of, habituations in your mind that can be continuously harmful to your this life and the next life. And then next life and the kind of, as a karmic result, and people don't like you. That is kind of, so kind of, is a fruit of the angers. So sometimes, you look good and you look, look good and you look very beautiful, but people try not to come closer to you. You're very powerful, you have so much wealth, but still people try not to come closer, because that's the kind of it's a karmic result of the angers, of the resentment. So more person who has more resentment, more harmful thought. So it's keep distance from relations.
Yes, we're supposed to stop at 4.
Oh, okay. Forbearance. It's too long, isn't it? Chanchu semjo rinpoche, ma jeba na jeju je, jeba nyamba meba nyo, kondo pebra. Tonye dawa rinpoche, ma jeba na jeju je, jeba nyamba meba nyo, kondo pebra. Pama semjen damjen, dedan denju je, ngenro tamje, tato tonwa. Chanchu semba, kanda sushu be, teta kunye, molom dubjiru. Karera weko bishi maso, pendan dewa ma nyo. Jeren semwa, tinze jaso yin shabe, side bado denju je.
May the precious holy mind have that form arise and grow. May that form have no decline, but increase forevermore. May the precious mind realize in emptiness, not that form arise and grow. May that form have no decline, but increase forevermore. Due to all these merits, may all Father and Mother sentient beings have all happiness. And may all lower realms be empty forever. Wherever there are bodhisattvas, may all their prayers be accomplished immediately. In the sacred land surrounded by snow mountains, you are the source of all benevolent happiness, of powerful genetic enthusiasm. Remain in this world until samsara ends.
Thank you very much.